The Borderlands movie is finally out, and Jiminy Christmas, it's atrocious. It doesn't matter your take on the Borderlands series, if you love the games, if you hate the games. If you see this movie, you will hate it. It is just bad across the board, regardless of your taste. I am stunned by how bad it actually is. I didn't have the highest hopes for it, but you have to try really hard to make a movie this terrible. So I went last night to see it with a bunch of my friends. We were 10 heads deep to see the Borderlands movie because this is one of those special stinkers that had a lot of hype. 0% on Rotten Tomatoes when it debuted. A 3 from IGN, which is unheard of. IGN gives fucking anything a 5. If they watched an hour and a half of the peanut butter jelly time banana gif going back and forth, they'd probably rate that a 5. And they gave this a 3. So we knew that this was going to be something impressively bad. But I don't think any of us expected just how boring, lame, and just downright nauseatingly, insultingly worthless this film is. I have nothing good to say about it. I'm going to go ahead and play clips from when we were kind of debriefing after witnessing this war crime, but I'm going to speedrun like the basics. I'm not even going to bother talking about how unrecognizable this movie is from the source material. It doesn't even bother to try and be a comedy. Like, I think the Borderlands humor hasn't aged super well, but I still like Borderlands 1 and 2 a lot. I don't like 3 or any of the games that followed, but I really like 1 and 2. And I thought, bare minimum, this would be trying to take that DNA of that humor and put it in this movie. It doesn't. There's like almost no comedic moments in this film at all, except for Jack Black doing his best to try and make Claptrap entertaining. He's like the only one putting any kind of soul into this at all. Everything else is like the most flat NPC shit ever. It felt like everyone in this movie just didn't want to be there at all, except for Jack Black, who was at least trying. But again, I'm not even going to talk about how different this is from the Borderlands source material. I just want to talk about how bad it is just from a movie perspective. This movie had an over $100 million budget, and I don't know where the fuck that went. They need to be investigated for money laundering because there is some fishiness afoot here. Something has gone awry. The movie looks horrible. Like, visually, it is bad. Claptrap is, like, the only thing that looks pretty good, and apparently they didn't even credit some of the people that worked on Claptrap. There's quite a bit of controversy around that right now. And Claptrap is the only thing that actually looks consistently decent. All of the action, it's like you stick your head into a fucking washing machine that's going through, like, a rapid cycle. You can't tell what's happening with the action because there's no choreography. The camera's doing this, like they're playing Beat Saber with the camera. It's terrible. The action, they don't even use the core component of Borderlands, which is the guns. The guns aren't here. They only use like the most basic guns, which is an assault rifle and a pistol. Now they do have the infinity pistol, but they don't explore that being cool at all. It's fundamentally still just a normal pistol in this movie. They don't do anything cool with the guns or anything. I know I said I'd not like talk about how different it is from the IP, but I think it's important to mention this for the action. The guns basically are non-existent here. Don't even go into this thinking that that's going to play a role because they don't. All of the action is for the most part shoot, shake the camera a lot when someone's doing like melee, hand-to-hand, close quarters combat, and then go to the next scene. And it's all so meaningless. There is at no point in this film any resistance per se. Everything goes exactly how it needs to without any like emotional stakes, without any kind of like actual obstacles. They forgot like a core component of the film is something that needs to be overcome, you know, like this big moment doesn't exist here. Everything is just this fucking cakewalk with characters that seem actually bored. Every character seems truly miserable to be acting in the film. And I don't blame them because the material they were given was 100% spit out by ChatGPT. I'm tired of using that criticism, but it's becoming so apparent when AI is used here, and I am confident that all of the attempts at comedy were AI-generated jokes. I wrote down a couple of them, and you'll see that in the debriefing, but they used some of the most cliche lines we've all heard a million times unironically in this movie. It's so baffling that this actually hit the big screen. There is not a single audience I could imagine latching onto this and liking it. Fans of the game are going to hate it. Fans of movies are going to hate it because the movie's shit. they're like the only people that might like it is masochists, perhaps. I love bad movies, and this is not a bad movie that's enjoyable. It's truly awful to sit through. There is nothing fun about it. There's no charm. There's no anything. It's just actually so empty. It can't even tell its own story cohesively. This feels like Randy Pitchford had a wet dream and then pieced together this movie based off the little fragments he could remember about it. It is like nothing works and nothing is actually cohesive. So the story it tells horribly because it's so abrupt, changing things all the time or having like really convenient moments or just completely useless moments. Like you could probably cut out 40 minutes of this film, and it's not a long movie, it's only like an hour 20, but you could comfortably, I think, cut out 40 minutes and nothing changes. The movie plays out exactly the same. It's just very, very bad. So here, I'm gonna play clips from when we were debriefing. We saw Borderlands. The hype was there. 0% on Rotten Tomatoes debut, 3 from IGN, which is very rare. That means it almost doesn't function for IGN to go that low. And they were generous. Yeah, that movie super sucks. Temperature, how's everyone feeling?
I want to die.
I'm maybe the biggest Borderlands fan that I know, and that made me hate the franchise.
Yep, that sounds
which
about
makes
right.
me very sad.
Aaron's puking in the bathroom. Danny slept through.
I was telling them, I have literally never in my life fallen asleep in a movie theater before until this movie. I slept for maybe an hour of the hour and 20 minutes at that runtime.
So
That was truly the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
And not fun bad either.
No, it was very
not
just
fun bad
actually bad.
So I took notes. And that's rare. Usually I reserve this for only the biggest stinkers. I think comfortably that's the worst movie of the year. It's worse than Tarot. So when Danny fell asleep, I made a timestamp mark when I noticed. You fell asleep about 24 minutes into the film.
That sounds about right, yep.
And I honestly think that you experienced it the best. Like, I think if you're forced to go see Borderlands, you did the right thing and just slept through most of it. Because it is insufferably bad. So let's talk about what makes it so bad, huh, guys? What makes it so bad? I think for $110 million, they made a CW movie.
Yeah.
That movie visually is irredeemable. It
That's
looks
actually extremely offensive to CW.
The set dressing looked like it was all made of plastic.
Set dressing?
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. It was like fucking Party City. They walked in, they were like, let's put up streamers, I guess.
I did not know CGI in today's world could be that bad.
And it's not even I always say this, it's not the VFX team, like lack of talent, it's lack of time.
Yes.
That looks like they forced it out as quickly as they could. And it is incomplete.
No, at the end when they showed the big cat, not to spoil it, when they showed the canyon that they go to get to the vault, it actually looks like they just ultra keyed out like the background and they put in, they were like, this is the rest of the canyon back here.
And all of it, like, I never want to be that person who's like, oh, it's not true to the games kind of thing. But like, the simplest things were not true to the game. One, having a 50-year-old actor play Lilith made no sense.
What?
Yeah, the mother is this fucking linchpin character for the plot, doesn't have a name, is on screen for maybe less than a minute. Like,
Foxy, who keeps saying that,
is younger. She is younger than Lilith.
Kate Blanchett. Like,
which doesn't make sense.
and also,
it doesn't connect.
who fucking cares about spoilers at this point? Lilith, towards the end, it's like, oh my god, I'm chosen. I'm a siren. And she learns it, which in the time frame of who's in the movie makes no sense at all. Like, it doesn't add up.
It's fucking insane.
But it led to some really cool moments where when she realizes she's the chosen one, she sprouts wings and she just does this a lot.
Floating in air like
and giving
this.
people force fields.
She gives them like Destiny 2 buffs for a second.
Yeah, that was
She's like an ultimate.
We haven't even gotten into the dialogue.
Yeah, so
Which
that movie, we were in the Uber back talking about how it was like they ADR'd the entire movie.
Yeah.
I think the ADR, they just recorded a table read from when they were first reading the script.
Right?
Yeah.
No, the guy playing Krieg, they didn't even tell the actor in the costume to go like shake your head up and down so maybe.
No, he was stone cold, like solid the whole time. Even when his voice lines were going.
I wrote down a couple of my favorites because it does feel like I hate to use this because it's overused now as a criticism, but it really does feel like it was all AI generated. So it feels derivative of everything that's ever come before it. Unironically, these were some of the lines used. I'm too old for this shit. You in what army?
The one right behind
The
me.
one right behind me.
Oh!
Wait, where'd my other ones go? Oh, yeah. It's a shame your mother's not here to see this. Reminding her that her mother's
They
dead.
probably said that 18 times
Yeah.
in the whole movie.
At least,
Wait, the absolute best one is where she goes.
oh, yeah.
So your dad is so and so, right? And she goes, yes and no. And then she goes, it wasn't a yes or no question. And it's like, bitch, yes it
That's
was.
literally a yes or no
Is
question.
this your dad? Yes or no? That wasn't a yes or no question. I got mad.
I told them in the Danny and Matt on the Uber back. I was like, I think they weren't allowed to make new words for this movie, so they had a bunch of scripts around, and they were kind of mad-libbing lines from
It's
them,
like a Zodiac killer. Like,
yeah,
yes.
like they
Yeah.
were these lines.
Yeah.
Also, I think that scene, the only thing I could possibly explain it is they had a bunch of different drafts of the script, and they were taking bits and pieces, but they never went back and double checked to see if anything contradicted. So they were just like, okay, here's the movie. I think we have an hour and a half.
Is they had all of this budget and they spent it on Kevin Hart, Kate Blanchett, and Jack Black,
Yeah.
and nothing else.
No, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, and
Yeah,
Jamie Lee
Jamie Lee
Curtis.
Curtis.
And Jamie
Oh,
Lee Curtis.
Tannis being 85 for no fucking reason. is
And
absolutely
a fucking, like, afraid of everything pussy baby? That is not... She's such a psychopath comedian that she fucking hates everybody, and she's like, oh no, oh no, oh god.
They did give us Jamie Lee Curtis cleavage.
That's true.
Yeah, thank goodness.
They did
We all
have-
wanted.
They did have like a shot of her yams for some reason.
Nothing against.
I was awake for that part.
Oh, I know you were.
I woke him right the
Danny
fuck up.
fucking went from closed eyes to awooga. Conkers.
It was my favorite every time anything new happened, and they were like, oh wow, look at this place. And Claptrap would go, this is your house, right? And she's like, yes, this is my house. Thank you for noticing. Like, they announced every single thing that was
Yeah,
happening.
it feels like they thought the audience would actually be lobotomites. So anything that happens
Yeah.
gets like this in-depth explanation for what it
just-
means.
It just kind of hit me. I think this movie was made to be watched on a second monitor. It's made so that if you're sitting there and you never even a single time for an hour and a half go, huh?
Yeah, I feel like this criticism is often used for like video game movies of who is this movie for? But, like,
Legitimately nobody.
It legit felt like it was made for no one because it doesn't respect the source material whatsoever.
it is made-
And also like there's references that you would only get if you played the video game.
Yeah, and normal people wouldn't like this movie either.
I was gonna say it's made for one person and it's Randy Pitchford.
Yeah.
And the craziest part is they don't even do the thing where they do the rule of thirds because Marcus shows up. He's like, I'm the bus driver, and then he's like, I'm the guy selling guns,
And that's it.
And then he's like, I'm not in the movie ever. Maybe that's the best joke is they're like, there is no third time Marcus shows up.
Yeah.
It's just the two.
So it legitimately doesn't work on its own two legs. The movie, it doesn't know what to do. So big spoiler, at the end of the film, General Knox is not the Knox from the games, and nothing is like it is in the games, but Knox, in the context of the film, is hunting the entire film.
You know what's crazy? I don't know who you're talking about.
Really?
I literally don't know
It
who
was,
you're
He
talking
also
about.
gets knocked out randomly
You don't know
for
the
no
movie
reason.
Yeah.
Just to be like,
Yeah, the Crimson Lance girl.
yeah, the
That's
main
so
No.
wild because
You were awake.
Yeah.
You were awake.
No, she's the one that pulls up when she first finds Tina. She's the one that pulls up on the bike and is like, "Hey, girl."
Is she the one that got shot right at the end?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
where she was like, wait a second, I gotta say. And
That's what
she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
She doesn't exist. She's not.
She
General Knox
crosses
is
an ally to
cyborg.
them for no reason.
Yeah.
She's like, don't shoot, and then gets disintegrated.
The entire story
Yeah.
is General
Part
Knox is hunting them down.
Is the guys? Is Atlas goes, shoot? He goes, shoot those guys, kill them all, and then she goes, wait! And every single person. Well,
And they go, you're the general. They literally, like the voice goes, you're the general, we listen to you.
He shoots. He says, "Shoot them, kill them all," and then none of them shoot for legitimately probably 5 seconds, and then she goes, "Wait a minute," and then they continue to not shoot, and she walks up and she's like, "You're right, Roland. He's not right, really. He didn't do a single thing. We should," and then gets vaporized. Like it's. Everything that happens in this movie could be removed, and there would be no consequence to the rest of the story.
Remember when Roland sacrificed himself to
That's-
20,000 gun-wielding murderers and then just got up out from under their corpses? He's like, damn, it was a hard day of work. I'm so tired and sore
And
after
they
that.
had the gall. They had the absolute chutzpah to try and make it emotional.
I know. Like, why?
Well, and then the other thing too, the combat.
Oh, it's
Oh, the choreography was
so bad. It's like the shaky cam is on another
It
level.
was quick cuts to try to make you feel the action, which failed.
So what I was saying about like narratively, it doesn't work either. It's so disjointed. So like Nox at the very end, that she's been hunting them this whole movie, ruthless. There's no like indication she's turning or anything.
Nope.
And at the very end, she's like, "Everybody, fucking stop!" and then dies. Like nothing. And there's so many scenes in this movie that don't do anything.
The heroes face zero resistance the entire movie.
Yeah, no.
At
Like,
all.
things will come up, and even the final fight starts to happen, and then they just win. And then at the end of the movie, she puts the big shields up when she gets the powers, and they're like, haha, I can't be hurt. Then she gets blasted by a gun.
And then they still don't get
She
hurt.
headbutts a force
That
field.
was
Yeah, she did it to herself.
Yeah.
She just flew. I was awake for that. She just flew forward and was like, "Whoops."
Well, and then everybody
Ragdoll
uses her
gets
special Destiny 2 shield power-ups,
And it didn't matter.
and
No.
just continues to fight as they did before.
Yeah.
They don't even say, like, fuck, I
Yeah,
lost.
well, Kevin Hart literally goes, "Oh, well, that was fun while it lasted," and,
And then
then
keeps
nothing happened.
Yeah, he just keeps going.
we
Besides us, yeah.
Besides us, there was 2 people in that theater, and apparently no one's seeing this
And they
fucking
were
movie.
all back there with us, huddled up for warmth. Apparently, if you weren't within our proximity, we were all just gonna freeze.
I
No,
cannot
I'm
tell you
super
how many
open.
times during that movie you or I just went.
Yeah.
This
Why?
was always
Like,
happening.
what? Loved though when the hologram popped up and she goes, "If you're seeing this," and
I'm already
I
dead.
went, "I'm already dead,"
Yep.
thinking they're not gonna say that, and she says that, and I was like, "Why?
Yeah.
Like who wrote
It
this
was
shit,
so
man?
stupid.
There's nothing.
I
That's it. There's
That
nothing.
is seriously
There's
there's
nothing.
just
Nothing.
nothing
When I
to
went
like
to
in
the
that.
bathroom, I had to pee, I thought. And then I stood there and it took a few seconds for the stream to start, and I was like, I think my body was just like,
Get me
faking
out.
the reaction.
Yeah.
So I had to leave.
We can go around the room. I'd probably give it like a 12%-ish, somewhere in that ballpark, out of 100%.
I'm truly gonna go 0. You're wasting money if you see that movie.
I need you guys to understand how many shitty movies I go see with Charlie. This is the worst movie I've ever seen. It is a 0. It is worse than Moonfall.
Yeah, it had the gun, the infinity, so 1.
Okay.
This has tainted my love for the franchise.
It's-
This
it
will be a
has.
stain in my brain for the rest of my life. I hope this is not the last thing I think about before I die.
Percentage.
0. Did you need one?
0.5.
I don't think I can give one because I fell asleep.
No, give one from the moments you were lucid.
The moments are lucid. If it's 0, it's too high.